Welcome back to the kickoff. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And today we're talking Alexander Isak's statement in which he has demanded a transfer away from Newcastle. Now, this came out around the time the PFA Awards were on, and obviously he was nominated, and he's kind of explaining why he didn't attend. He first and foremost said he would like to thank his teammates and everyone at Newcastle has supported him along the way. Yeah, you're so grateful. You're such a grateful guy, you, aren't you? Thanks for the 140 grand a week, but I'm not turning up for the game against Villa away, even though you haven't even got a recognised striker in the squad, because I don't give a shit about you. Actions speak louder than words. I'm not at the ceremony tonight. With everything going on, it didn't feel right to be there. Everything being his own doing here, just to be clear. You could have been there if you'd just been professional. You could have showed your face. There would have been no issues whatsoever. But you've created this situation. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. Others that you've instructed to speak for you. Just to be clear. I mean, I've just kept quiet. I've been silent, me. All of these transfer guys are getting information leaked from his agent. He's never shut up all summer. That's the actual truth of it. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. Now, this is very vague, and that's deliberate, and I'll get onto that, but it's also just not true. The only version of events that has been covered all summer is the one that Alexander Isak's agent has been pushing, clearly. Newcastle have not been responding, and that is why the narrative online outside of the Newcastle fan base a lot of the time is, oh, poor Isak. I mean, it's just so unfair. Let him go. Free Isak. And all this nonsense. The reality is that promises were made and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. Now, the way that's worded is as though Newcastle had agreed to let him go this summer. You look at this bit before when he says it doesn't reflect what was said and agreed behind closed doors. Promises were made. And now people are acting like I'm kicking off out of the blue when I should have been let go because that was what was agreed. That is what he's insinuating without saying it here. The reality of the situation is he's actually talking about a contract, a new contract that he was supposed to get a year ago when Amanda Staveley was in charge at Newcastle. Unfortunately for him, he didn't get that in writing. She was moved out of the club. Someone else came in and he didn't get the new contract. And as much as I understand him being annoyed about that, the fact is, since then, he's been offered multiple new contracts that he's rejected. And we're not talking about, a few quid here. We're talking about 250 grand a week contracts. So if that was all that the problem was, it could have been solved very, very easily. When promises are broken and the trust is lost, the relationship cannot continue. It really sounds like he's like an ex-girlfriend who's really hurt, just posting on Instagram right now. And you want to talk about broken promises? Is this fucking gaslighting us or what? You signed a 6-year contract, my guy. That is the biggest promise you can make. You literally signed your name on the fucking deal. And since then, you're literally refusing to play for the club, breaking that promise. And now you're talking about how Newcastle are out of order because they didn't follow through on a new deal, when at a later point, they did offer you a new deal and you've rejected it. Sounds like a very convenient little narrative to make yourself the victim and to justify the disgusting way you're treating the football club. And look, intelligent people will see right through this manipulative load of shite. But unfortunately, people want to believe him. Do you know what I mean? Because they want Newcastle to be the bad guy and get on with it. It doesn't matter anyway. It won't change anything. So he says the relationship can't continue, and that's where things are for me right now, and why change is in the best interest for everyone, not just myself. I actually agree with Alexander Isak on this one. I think change is needed. I think he needs to change his unprofessional, disgraceful attitude towards a football club that have invested a lot of money into him, that have coached him, helped him, and improved his game and made him one of the best strikers in the world, and appreciate the platform he was given, and understand that as much as you might want your transfer, a football club also needs to make sure that they're not in a really bad situation if they grant you that wish. And I think this is a really desperate move for Alexander Isak. He's seeing the transfer window is rapidly closing in 2 weeks, and there is no sign of this deal getting done. Newcastle needed 2 strikers in. We haven't even got 1 in if we were going to let him go. And the last Liverpool bid was miles away from where Newcastle value him at. And if in those circumstances, Newcastle are just going to let him run the club down online and just say, you know what, he's being a bit of a headache. Yeah, we'll just let him go for cheap and we'll let him go without a striker replacement. It would be the dumbest thing we could do. And to be fair to Newcastle, they did try and get Ekitike. They did try and get Sesko. They did try and get João Pedro. And it didn't come off. Ironically, if Liverpool didn't bid for Ekitike and we had him, maybe this deal could have been done. So thank Liverpool for that. And I just find it amazing how many people are supporting the attitude that, yeah, I'm just down in tools, I'm done. When This grown man signed a contract, a 140 grand a week contract apparently. Thought it was 120, apparently it's 140. Living the dreams of football fans everywhere, playing at the highest level, getting paid a fortune to do it, and refusing to turn up for work. I don't care if you are a footballer, you spoiled little brat. You don't just get what you want immediately in life sometimes. Especially when you signed a contract that would have enabled you, if you had a bad run of form, you didn't score another fucking goal, Newcastle would have had to pay that contract out in full. But oh no, you had a good season, and that means I'm off. See you later. The contract doesn't even mean anything. It fucking does, like. And that's the thing that he's massively underestimated here. And for all he's such a victim, the guy hasn't had the balls to put in a transfer request because it'll impact the amount of money that he would make from a transfer to Liverpool. But apparently the club's known your position for a long time. Well, how about you fucking put it in writing then, you coward? And I understand, like, you know, this is a personal thing. I'm a Newcastle fan, and I guess Liverpool fans will naturally be hoping that this all works out in their favour, and I get it. But every other football fan should be looking at the way he's treating Newcastle and thinking, imagine that was your club, and he just doesn't have any respect for them whatsoever after they've done a lot for him. This is the most weasel behaviour I've ever seen from a footballer in my life. And the fact that he had the cheek to put it in writing on his social media and disrespect Newcastle in the way he has, it blows my mind, because I've been pissed off by companies before where I thought I've been treated like shit there. But you also have to be grateful for the position you're in life and understand that it's business, and you don't want to come across like a petulant little child who can't handle reality. And that's exactly how he's coming across right now. He's not acting like a man, he's acting like a little kid, stamping his feet and screaming because he can't get his own way immediately. You compare the way he's behaving to the way Eze performed for Crystal Palace the other day. I mean, the goal was disallowed, but he banged a goal in, busted a gut for them, played his heart out, got his move. Credit to him. Unfortunately, Isak just doesn't have the same level of appreciation and respect for the club, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to drive the price down and fuck Newcastle. And that's what this is. And for a while, I've been thinking, let's just get the replacements ready, get Liverpool to stump up enough cash and get the fucking deal done. But this level of cheek, it just makes me think, just throw him in the fucking reserves for the next 3 years and let's see what it's like for you when you leave at 29 years old without a game of football under your belt for the last 3 years. Maybe that would be harsh, maybe that would be over the top. But seeing that post, I just thought, you deserve a slap, you. Do you know what I mean? You absolutely fucking do. And you think back to the old days of Sir Alex Ferguson and the like, and you think, fuck me, I miss those days, me. Because these players, they're so out of touch now, and this is the pinnacle of that, acting like you're hard done by when you're on 140 grand a week, man, and you signed a 6-year deal and you're having to honour it a little longer until Newcastle can get in the position to sell you. Cry me a fucking river, you big baby. Now, Newcastle have also responded with their own statement, and they're very quick to clear up the fact that no commitment has ever been made by a club official that Alex can leave Newcastle this summer. And I'm glad about that, because you already knew the way he'd worded it. I already seen the narrative was changing immediately online. Oh, they've broken their promise to let him leave. I don't blame him. Yeah, that's what he wanted, and plenty fell for it. We want to keep our best players, but we also understand that players have their own wishes and listen to their views. As explained to Alex and his representatives, we must also take into consideration the best interests of Newcastle, the team and our supporters in all decisions. And we have been clear that the conditions of a sale have not transpired. The conditions being, we need 2 strikers and we need a fucking good fee for you. And despite what Liverpool fans are saying online right now about it's a British record, the fact is, the game has changed. You already know this. Caicedo, Declan Rice, fucking Jack Grealish even. So many players have gone for huge amounts of money, including Wirtz, and Alexander Isak is a level above that, and therefore the transfer has to fucking reflect it. And even if that money did come in right now, we haven't got a replacement, so we're fucked. And apparently Newcastle have a gun to our head from Alexander Isak, and we should just rush out and go and buy any old striker, no matter if they fit the team or not, because he wants to leave immediately. Well, get fucked. Newcastle should have every right to hold on to him with the 3 years left for another season if we want, to go and find the right replacement instead of rushing into making a mistake and ending up with a fucking Rasmus Højlund situation. Fuck that. And the club have said we do not foresee those conditions being met because it's so hard to even get one striker in right now, let alone 2, let alone get Liverpool to actually stump the fair amount of money up. And you know what? In a year from now, Liverpool could probably get him cheaper than what we're wanting now because we'll have 1 year less on his contract. Guess what? It's worth it because we can't be going a whole season with a Champions League campaign on our hands with barely any strikers. The club finished the statement saying it's a proud club, proud traditions, and we strive to retain our family feel. Alex remains a part of that family and will be welcomed back when he is ready to rejoin his teammates. I love the way they ended that. Some people, oh, it wasn't hard enough. I get it, we're all angry, but what they've done there is they've treated him like a parent treats a child. Well, when you're ready to come out, we'll be waiting for you. When your tantrum's over, yeah, you can come back. And they've left the door open because it's the smart and sensible thing to do because we got fucking football matches to win. As much as I want to throw him in the reserves for the next 3 years. And I got to give credit where it's due to the club. I think that's a very measured, level-headed and calm response to this spoiled little brat throwing his toys out the pram. And finally, a bit of leadership, because it was sorely needed from Newcastle this summer. And a couple of the journalists who are very close with the club have followed up and really put the full stop on it by saying Newcastle have no intention now of selling Alexander Isak, which I think previously they would have explored it had the conditions been right, but it's a flat no now. Same from Luke Edwards here, who says, if you're reading the statement tonight and still think there is a chance Alexander Isak is joining Liverpool this summer, good luck, you're gonna need it. And I think that brings this to a conclusion here. I mean, obviously people are going to still wonder, but Isak's played his last card. Go public. And guess what? Newcastle dealt with it within fucking half an hour. Easy. And I'm really glad about the fact that we've stood up for ourselves here because the way people have been talking about Newcastle online all summer, like we should just bow down to this guy. You're just a fucking player, mate. Yes, a very good one. But you've had 2 good seasons, pal. You're not bigger than the club. And just having to listen to this nonsense about Newcastle holding him hostage and whatever, we had to put that to an end and show some fucking strength. The decisions that he's made this summer, the advice he's been given, the way his management have advised him, what a fucking disaster he has made of this. Because he really thought, I can just get my way and fuck Newcastle. And it's like, you're only getting what you want when we get what we want. Do you get that? Because unfortunately for you, Sunshine, contracts actually do mean something. And you might want to keep that in mind the next time you sign one. And it's funny because I'm seeing people now online, oh, young players, they're not going to want to sign for Newcastle anymore. If you're going to stop them joining the big clubs, they're not going to want to sign for you. Well, we've just signed 2 in the last fucking week. I'm not really sure that's true. Anyone who's reasonable can look at this and go, yeah, I understand why you're not gift wrapping that one of the top 3 strikers in the world to a team in the same league as you for a value that doesn't match the actual value when you haven't got a replacement yet. I think that's perfectly reasonable, in fact. And if that puts off other footballers who may want to do shit like this, who are little weasels themselves, then good. We don't want you. Because the last thing Newcastle should do is set a precedent that if you stamp your feet and kick off, we'll let you do what the fuck you want. This is Newcastle United we're talking about here. I've always wanted to say that. And the reality is, the best thing Alexander Isak can do now is turn up for fucking work. Except I haven't got the power I thought I had. I actually need these lot to help me get the move I want instead of fighting against them. Give us the time to get the strikers we want. We'll try and get you the move you want. We'll all work together and have a good outcome. Because the problem for me with Alexander Isak has never been him wanting to move. It's the absolute disrespect that he's had for a club that have done a lot for him, no matter what the fuck anyone says. And the smartest thing he could do is try and score a fucking goal against Liverpool. Remind them why they need to pay the fucking money to get you instead of this lowball shite. And get Newcastle fans back on side so that your working environment for the next 6 months or however long you're going to be here isn't miserable and start growing the fuck up. Imagine we all took this kind of attitude. I don't want to do it anymore. Grow up, man. They've offered him 250 grand a week in the meantime, as if that's chump change. And yet some people are still siding with Isak as if he's some sort of victim. It's insane what I'm hearing. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. No doubt I'll have a load of people bitching and whining. Well, I don't give a fuck. Get that through your fucking skulls. I don't care. I hope you all have a good day. Hit the like button, subscribe, and never forget that Newcastle United will never be defeated.